Hello everyone, so I'll be sharing to you today a message that connects to my heart, but I pray it connects with you as well. Have you ever felt that you're so unworthy and disqualified of all the things that you are having in life right now? From time to time, I get to think about it. God, what did I ever do to deserve the privilege to serve you, to receive the blessings that I have now? And you can't help but just be thankful. This afternoon, I want to share to you a life of a man who has done far more greater things in a bad way, but yet received so much from God. Can we turn our Bibles to 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 9 to 10? Let me read it to you. For I am the least of the apostles, unworthy to be called an apostle, because I persecuted the church of God. But by the grace of God, I am what I am, and by His grace towards me was not in vain. On the contrary, I work harder than any of them, though it was not I, but the grace of God that is with me. That's the word today that I want to share to all of us. If we're going to look closer into that first line, Paul is actually saying that I am the least of the apostles, and I do not even deserve. I'm unworthy to be called an apostle because I persecuted the church. Paul is very much aware of the damage he has caused among the believers. He caused suffering, he approved death, and because of them, there are people who died because of the faith. And he's saying, I don't even deserve. I'm the least of the apostles. Have you noticed kung paano niya, how he would actually start every letter? He would introduce himself, servant of Christ, an apostle by the will of God. Dun pa lang, even at that, it actually shows that it was not his choosing, but God's choosing. He did not remain from the... Sometimes when we do things out of sin, we get stuck. We find it hard to forgive ourselves of the things that we have done. We know the love of God in our lives, but sometimes we know by heart and knowledge the finished work of Christ, but we have forgotten to forgive ourselves. But Paul did not remain stuck from that past. Sometimes we are stuck from heavy emotions of guilt. But compared to Paul, he did not remain stuck. He said, I am the least of the apostles. I don't deserve to be called an apostle because of what I did. Sometimes we disqualify ourselves. But listen, the next verse says, by the grace of God, I am what I am. That statement speaks a lot because he gives credit not on his finished work. It's not how many times you actually go to the church, how many Bible studies, how many hours you pray, how many disciples you raise, how many victory gifts that you have done. Because it's not by our own effort. Paul says, by the grace of God, I am who I am. I am who I am means you are fully known, yet you are fully loved. God knows what you've done. God knows what I did. God knows the darkness in each and every one of us. But yet, by the grace of God, you are who you are. And you know what that speaks about who God is? God's grace secures us. You don't need to behave good. You are already fully loved. Diba? It says in the Bible that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. You are already fully loved. And Paul was coming in a position of being secured. He knows that he is fully loved and fully accepted. And I believe that helped him move towards his calling and fulfill his ministry. Listen, you too can move in a powerful way the way Paul did. Because by the grace of God, you are who you are. You are fully known. You are fully flawed. Yet you are fully loved by God. And the next line says actually here. It says here, by His grace, it was not I without effect. By His grace, it was not in vain. By His grace, the grace did not came fruitless. When we take the gospel heartily, when we accept it with all of our heart, and we stand on the finished work of Jesus Christ, grace will work wonders into our lives. Listen, the second point today is the grace of God transforms us. But the question is, have we allowed the grace of God into our lives? Have we fully embraced the gospel in us? Earlier I was sharing to you about when you fall to sin, when you did something wrong, you know the forgiveness of God. But sometimes, why do you dwell on the sin for days and for weeks? Sometimes we forget that we don't just accept the grace in the mind. We also have to accept the grace in the heart. As Christ loves you, as Christ forgives you, I pray as well that we allow the grace in our lives and we say, I forgive myself. As I embrace the grace of God, I am being graceful towards myself. God's grace transforms us every day, and that's the invitation of God. Thirdly, Paul is actually exhorting here. I work harder than all of them, yet it is not I, but by the grace of God that was with me. He wasn't trying to prove his worth. He was able to do a lot of things. Not because of he is good, he is excellent, he is educated, he has been hardworking for so many people to came to know the gospel, not because of his effort. Again, he is giving credit to the grace of God. When we dive into the truth of what Jesus did for us, the liberating power of the gospel, it enables us to embrace the grace that we have. The unmerited favor of the Lord empowers us to do greater things for the kingdom. It's not about our past anymore. It's about the grace of God and by the grace of God. Let me leave to you the short message today. The grace of God secures us, it transforms us, and at the same time, it empowers us, it enables us to do the impossible mission that we have before us. May we align our hearts today that there are also a lot of Pauls out there who needs to be rescued from their past and bring them onto the good news. We have to empower the young people today in the nations and the people that has brought into us. That they don't need to be stuck in the past, because God is not being stuck in the past. The grace of God will transform them as God transforms you. I hope the message today will not just empower us to grow in ourselves, but it also empowers us to see the lost as Paul did. In this chapter, Paul was exhorting the Corinthians not just to stand on the gospel, but to receive the gospel, but to fully embrace the gospel that our Lord Jesus Christ has resurrected, and that's our hope. That's the grace of God in our lives. The grace that secures, transforms, and empowers us. Have a great day.